Welcome to Healing Through Dentistry podcast,
where we redefine health, wellness, and the power of your smile.
We're your hosts,
Hannah
and Eva, twin sisters, qualified dentists and medical doctors.
This is more than a dental podcast.
It's a journey into profound connection between oral health and whole body healing.
Through personal stories, inspiring client transformations, and expert insights,
we explore how dentistry can ignite energy, relieve chronic pain, and transform lives.
Get ready to discover the extraordinary ways your smile can heal, inside and out.
Let's begin.
Welcome to the next episode.
We're talking about amalgam fillings, metal fillings. We had 2 episodes. You can listen before you hear this one. And the first one was full of our stories, experiences, and life experiences, why we decided to remove mercury fillings in a safe way. And the second one was more about what is amalgam filling and alloy of metal and more technical things.
And today it's an episode on how do we replace the amalgam filling with what material, and actually how, like what technique do we use?
What is the protocol?
What is the protocol?
So we love that we were able finally to deliver the device to our clinic, which is a special air filter. And we use technique which is called SMART, which is a nice way to call something smart because it's actually smart. We are smartly removing filling, but it means SMART is safe mercury removal technique, amalgam removal technique.
Safe mercury amalgam removal technique. So it's SMART. It stands for, those letters. And it is smart, like you said. It is according to IOA MT, which is the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. So we haven't made it up. There is a protocol which has been put in place with this organization. Yeah. And if you'd like to see more information about it, they've got a beautiful website full of information, not only about amalgam, but also about fluoride and other disruptors which can, influence our whole body.
And in States, you can find also the practitioner who would be using this technique. So that's great too.
Yeah, not only in States, but in the world. So, and how do we, what do we use to replace the amalgam fillings? Because people might think okay, I've got 12 amalgam fillings or I've got 2 amalgam fillings, but how do I replace them? Can I replace them? And yeah, we always say yes, definitely replace them for the reasons we were talking about in last 2 episodes, which means that I'm just going to repeat that mercury and other heavy metals inside like silver, tin, copper, but mainly the mercury is a neurotoxin. It is the most toxic when it evaporates. So when we remove it in the, in evaporate state. And so that's for that reason is very, very important to remove the mercury safely in a protocol we've just mentioned. And maybe we're going to talk about the protocol later, but what are we using instead of the amalgam fillings?
So we have even clients asking for composite, but there's another thing which we have to be aware of is that it's not every composite is great, because we are talking about plastic and about what material is the best then. Is it better to keep the amalgam or have the composite, which is again a controversy in a way, which material you're using, right?
Exactly. But if we go step back, ideal material is no material. So that's why Eva and me and Duo Smile Clinic is big on prevention, because we want to prevent you guys who have not had fillings yet to have them in the first place.
And if composite, then BPA-free composite. And ideally, we prefer to replace it with ceramic filling. So ceramic filling is the way. Either is made in laboratory, which is bigger filling, more extensive filling.
It's called onlay or
overlay. And smaller one, we use material which is ceramic based. So there is no trace of plastic.
Yeah, of course you can have a crown as well. Crown is like a bigger, if you lose most of the tooth, then we need to replace it, rebuild it in a way that you need a new core for the tooth, because obviously if you remove 2/3 of filling, there's going to be not much left. And that's why we need to, kind of produce or carve a new core and then a crown, which is the artificial kind of prosthetic replacement for
Yeah, but I think it's important to say that we like to go as much minimum invasive as we can. So basically you remove what is the material, which is amalgam filling, and then you see what remains. And then you start talking, okay, it's better to do overlay, or no, I would like to do the crown. There's no other option.
Yeah, I always tell my clients that obviously probably the ideal option would be to go for those minimally invasive inlays, onlays, overlays, because what it means is that we take impressions and the lab based on your bite and based on, they use a device called articulator. So they basically imitate your biting
Mechanism,
your biting
chewing moves.
Your chewing moves. And so they exactly know how to carve and how to produce the best, crown for you with all the cusps and curves, how it should be. And that is from the whole body well-being, in my opinion, the best option, because everything's interconnected. And even you might think like, oh, why do I need a, onlay, which is probably double the price, which obviously all comes to the finance. I'm aware of it. But it is because, every cast have got, again, its position. And if you lose it, then you're going to start biting in a slightly different way. And that's just going to affect your spine, your neck, your back, and the whole body. So I do see it even, I've had braces as well. So I see how the teeth has shifted slightly, and obviously the positions of my cusps and everything is in a different position. And I see how it is a work of the whole body. The body needs to adjust. So one option is, like you said, the fillings. The other options, inlay, overlay, onlay. And the last option, which we do only if, there's no other option, is the crown, which is
ceramic or zirconia, which is ceramic based too.
Yeah, obviously we don't use metals at all, so everything is like metal free.
And I think the other thing, which is, this is restoration, but the other thing is like we remove the amalgam, and then we have to be aware of that the heavy metal toxicity, we have to bind everything in order for the body to flow it away. So I like to also not recommend not only the supplements, but I like also to help myself by food. So we talk about our smoothies. You can prepare yourself a blueberry smoothie, which is, according to Anthony William, heavy metal detox, which is blueberry, 1 cup of blueberry, 1 cup of orange, 1 banana, and cilantro, 1 cup of cilantro, and spirulina, and you mix it together and you have great smoothie for the liver to detox.
Yeah, you can add some like Japanese algae as well. You jumped into the recipes already, Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like I was right, there's certain foods which like helps us with detox. Like maybe like a lot of people, when we say detox, just imagine that they need to, be on a certain diet and take a lot of supplements. But the detox means, like, in general, it starts like every day, what I put on my fork, what I put in my mouth. And, to be mindful about what you eat, considering, if you're going through the amalgam removal, it is important. But it's true that with the amalgam, because it's not just like the everyday detox, I'd say the heavy metal detox smoothie is really great to put as an extra for the detox. Or, if you do not have the amalgam fillings anymore, and just use it as in terms of a prevention. But when it comes to detoxing your body after amalgam fillings, it is very important to follow a certain protocol in order for you to detox all of the toxins which are still kind of stored in your tissues. Because what is important to know is that if you remove the amalgam fillings from your mouth, it doesn't mean that they're off from your body totally. You need to start to detox the tissues as well.
Yeah, the heavy toxic metal needs to bind which is called methylation, and you will release them. So
in our practice, we use quite broad protocol. It's very high on chlorella. Sometimes when people are not really happy with chlorella, they can do barley and spirulina combination, but it is high on this. But also it contains another, I think, 10 or 11 supplements. I can mention only just to give you an idea. It's like a lot of B complex. It's very high on vitamin D3. It is omegas there. It is collagen and vitamin C. So it really is a protocol which was thought through in order to really support the detox of the liver first, and then the detox of the gut after. So it's full of probiotics and prebiotics, and that's probably going to be for another episode if we ever talk about supplementation,
yes.
because that's a broad topic.
I like this, but I would add today also sauna and infrared sauna, which is, the tissue, the body skin is huge to detoxify toxins, heavy metal toxins. And I have to also, I love to inspire by stories. By my experience is that I have undergone 22 days of detox, which was involving that I had to do half an hour run every day and then 3 hours in sauna. And I had high doses of vitamins, minerals, and lots of high dosages of vitamin B, which is actually taking everything from your liver. And if you don't have a knowledge, you would be scared what is happening. And I have a few clients in a clinic that they said, oh, I had allergic reaction after taking vitamin B. And it's actually awareness of what you do. I love to read things, and this protocol was
to educate yourself
yes
on something before you do it. That's the key. Yes.
So this protocol was great on that. We were just reading all 3 hours we were reading about information about what we're doing and about the body. So I love that. And it's true that within these 3 hours in sauna, you would sometimes smell that somebody was painting a wall. So all the chemicals. So it was just the body is so powerful to release it after years, you're painting the walls.
So I was actually saying I have experienced that a few years back, and I didn't understand what people mean until I have experienced that, because like when my friend introduced me to this protocol, and it's based on Ron Hubbard, you can look it up. It's been used also after 9/11 when, like for the firefighters, and I'm sure they might be using it now after the sad Californian fire. But basically, like these people were, and I'm just starting a little bit broader before I get to my point, but I think it's important to explain. So these people who are firefighters, who are breathing these very, very toxic fumes, then they have developed depressions and post-traumatic syndrome. And so what they were thinking, like, I don't know if government or whoever suggested it, but they suggested for them to do the protocol on Ron Hubbard, and they did this, like what Eva did, what I did. And basically you're really sitting for 3 weeks and more. It just depends on each person. You can be there for 2 weeks, but you can be there for 5-6 weeks. It depends on your response of your body. And you are running, you are sweating in a sauna.
And the sauna is 60 degrees. It's not 90, it's 60 degrees.
It's 60 degrees sauna, so don't imagine that you're just gonna be melting down in a sauna. It's 60 degrees and the humidity is
around 20, yeah,
I think. But anyway, and so what was happening when you were just saying that people were smelling the stuff which was coming from them from like years ago? That was, when I was sitting in my sessions, I was there with a young guy who was 9 months on a weed. He was smoking weed, marijuana. And he was like, not even we smelled it, but he was like experiencing the symptoms he used to when he smoked. So he was just like confused and almost like irritable. And he was actually feeling how everything's going from him. Another friend was taking a lot of antibiotics when she was little. So she felt that as well. Or even
I had chlorine, the guy with the chlorine. So Savo is like, it's, thing you clean and it's very aggressive. So We smelled chlorine there.
So chlorine, in my experience, was that I've seen a lot of trauma. It's not only chemical, but even a heat. Eva and me, you remember we used to have like a allergy for sun, they used to call it. So we've had like a rash on our breast and on our like neck. And so in the sauna, I experienced, the spots, the places where I used to have that rash, it was coming out. And also what was interesting, I had few years shingles, which is, a viral infection after, when you do have herpes. Reactivation of the herpes virus, and it can come back as shingles. And that can be quite scary as well. But that's for another story, how I master it and how I actually help myself with supplement protocols and, all the whole body.
Yeah, but maybe before we forget about it, maybe we can do the next episode about it. It's just like a nice thing, because this is very extensive topic about nutrition and sauna. I just wanted to point out the sauna.
In the sauna, I was feeling so well, like the spot where, the nerve was, after the shingle, where the nerve was affected. And I remember that I had a lot of, like, the tears were coming out from my eyes. So there was some kind of an infection in my eyes as well, which was coming back. So I just wanted to jump in and just explain more about this protocol, because it is interesting. And for people who never heard of it, they would be like, what do you mean that you feel or hear or, smell? Stuff what you used to put inside of you like years back. That doesn't make sense. And it didn't make sense to me until I have experienced that.
Yeah, so to summarize, we love protocols and we hear them from our clients as well. So Anthony William protocols, and then what we were talking about last few minutes was Ron Hubbard protocol. It's all about nutrition, it's all about supplement, it's about detoxifying through liver. So I feel that the liver is the most important organ you need to start with in order to heal anything in your body. So
yeah, because most stuff is stored in the liver. It can be, viruses, bacteria, molds, heavy metals, like everything what like the body wants to store. It just goes to the liver. So yes, so I am happy that you started with like a detox, not only supplementation, which we started, but about like sauna. It can be also the opposite. The cold therapy is detox as well, because what I'm just doing, I'm just changing the temperature as well. And that's detoxifying as well. What is amazing and often we forget about that one, as in detox, is breathing, like breathing techniques, breathing exercises. It is powerful. What we can also use after, the amalgam removal is massages, like lymphatic massages. Maybe some people know even the trousers you put on and helps with the lymph. We want to get it in a surgery one day, right, Eva?
Yeah, all the biohacks.
Or some people use like a bath, Epsom salt bath. You big on fermented food?
Yeah, I am. I feel it's like 3P, proteins, plants, and probiotics, and that's fermented vegetable. It's great. So yeah,
obviously it's always best if you can produce the fermented food for yourself, because if you buy a jar of fermented food from the store, like you need to check like what they add in, what chemicals. So it's the best to produce it yourself. And when it is produced yourself, what you put inside, it's magical. And from food, like what is like, the evergreens, amazing, is like garlic, onion, parsley, blueberries, like the massive antioxidant, right? Tomatoes.
And I have to say, from the experience of our clients, so some clients, they are sensitive to greens, so they swap it for garlic. So they have lots of protocol with garlic or curcuma. So I love that our clients inspire us as well, and they tell us their stories.
And maybe we can even start with the water, just like a water. Make sure that you drink, 3 liters of water every day.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest biohack, and if we call it biohack, but it's the biggest trick. If you have a glass of water with the salt in the morning, so
Or
some
lemon.
great salt and lemon, and that could, like, flush everything, and you're sleeping lots of hours and you dehydrate and you don't even know. So it's great to start with a glass of water with a little bit of salt and lemon. Yeah.
Green tea is always good too.
Yes. What do you think, Hannah, now? Would you like to also discuss a little bit more further the protocol? Because I think it's very detailed. I think, I wanted to talk about...
Simplify it. I would just simplify it. Probably we might have started with that before, the detox suggestions. But what does it mean? Because people might be curious, or, they might have never heard about like safe amalgam removals. So they might be like, what is it? Like, what is it special?
Well, I would make it very simple. You have very powerful air suction. You have clothes that it's protecting you. You have oxygen, which is the oxygen mask, which you're breathing in within the procedure. And you have supplement health before, after. Ideally, you use chlorea, we use also charcoal. So yeah, I think there's things each practitioner add or don't add. So we all have little tricks.
Exactly, we all have our little tricks, but like, just to summarize it, like you said, like the very powerful filtration is the key. Nasal cannulas, which means that you've got the oxygen and you don't breathe the vapors by your nose. Rubber dam is very important. Rubber dam, what is rubber dam? It's like a safety...
a barrier, I say, which is just dividing the teeth you're working on and the rest of the mouth, and it's a special material as well.
And then we've got a special technique how to drill the amalgam fillings. So it's like in a big chunks in general. And activated charcoal, spirulina, and so I think that's the basics. And it is important, like we said in previous episodes, for that reason, that mercury, as in the metal, is neurotoxic and binding into your not only neurons but into your tissues in a body, and it can influence your overall health. But also it is important to say that it is the most toxic when it's in a vapor, meaning when we're removing it. So that's why sometimes we do have a lot of clients who love Anthony William, medical medium, who we love also, and we are inspired with his protocols as well. But I have to say that in his books, which is right, he suggests to do amalgam fillings like max 1 or 2 together. But I always tell my clients that he is counting with that option that 99%, unfortunately, dentists still don't use the safety protocol, and that's why he's suggesting this. Like, we go even more further because we know how it can trigger your autoimmune health or any other health. It can just be a trigger. So we do feel that it's very important, and even based on our story, mind brain fog and mind health issues, which has resolved.
And the clients often ask how many, as you said, how many fillings should I do? So we use quadrants, or, left side or right side. So 2 sessions. If there should be a gap, I would say 3 weeks is a gap, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Week 2, 3. Like, I think the most important is very, very individual. So we always recommend the regimen of supplementation and a special diet, recommendation, like a month before and then months after. But it's like, again, just very generalized. Some people, if they come over in a literally poor health and
chronic fatigue, we just, we say we do this quadrant and then let's see what happens, and then we just just make another appointment once they feel okay.
But what I meant more about, like, some people need the protocol even like 3-4 months before, because they come over with autoimmune disease, with chronic fatigue, with like so many symptoms. So 1 month wouldn't be enough. So it is very individual. And obviously, if you then covered with the protocol, then you don't have to necessarily have a big gaps in between the fillings. Saying that, it's always a convenience for people if they live in our city, or if they can stay longer, just to have them like a week apart, because they can recover even they don't have to be in the dental chair for so many hours, and they can take it easy. They can take it in a slower pace. On the contrary, we do have clients who come over from different countries, and then it's again individual discussion how we're just going to proceed, and it's again based individually on like symptoms of a client, and even other stuff like the jaw opening, and yeah, that's just very detailed, so very individual. But we might finish the discussion on, we have talked about that before, how do you measure the heavy metals in your body?
So we take a test in our clinic, and we have taken it over years for several times. We take hair analysis, and we cooperate with one laboratory in state. So we send the samples, and they really send us a full report, which is very extensive report. You will basically see levels of your heavy metals, but also they give you the suggestion for nutrition. That's what we were talking about, what is important to take after the removal.
Exactly. It's about like the minerals in your body, and what's the connections, and like what you need to do based on your result. So I think that's about amalgams and removal and how to replace them, and how to detox. Would you add anything else, Eva?
I love that. I would probably like to talk about your experience, because I think that's powerful to add. What you started with shingles and about how you felt when you were removing amalgam. So I would like to touch on that on next episode.
Okay.
There will be more stories. I think client stories. We should add some more client stories to this.
It's kind of funny because as we speak, we're like, oh, I want to add this. I want to add this. And we're obviously...
And also this is a very heavy topic for me, actually. It's something which, it shouldn't be here for many decades. And so we can maybe discuss also in the next episode.
That's true. Okay.
So thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.
Can't wait for the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on Healing Through Dentistry podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to see your smile as the gateway to whole body well-being.
To stay connected, visit us on our website or follow us on social media.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit.
Until next time, remember, healing starts with a smile.
Take care,
and we will see you in the next episode.